A massive fire and police response. Witnesses looked up the 50-story building here on the Upper East Side of Manhattan and couldn't believe what they were seeing.
And we went out and we saw the flames and the big smoke, the big puff of smoke coming out there. And then right away, in my thought, in my mind, that something big happened. We found out it was an airplane that hit. So right away, I was thinking about 9/11.
Along with the fire and smoke, lots of debris falling. Miraculously, nobody was seriously hurt on the ground. But sadly, 2 bodies found on the sidewalk. And late today, Yankees owner George Steinbrenner confirmed that pitcher Corey Lidle was among the dead. It was his 4-seater plane that crashed into the upper floors of the building shortly before 3 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon. He had just taken off a few minutes earlier from nearby Teterboro Airport in New Jersey. Weather very cloudy at the time, rain falling heavily shortly afterward. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating, but it's just too early to speculate on what happened. The mayor says terrorism was never suspected, but still ordered the massive emergency response. Corey Lidle, a 34-year-old husband and father of a small boy, had just come to the Yankees in a deal a few months ago. Had spoken often of just getting his pilot's license recently and buying a new plane. And it's not the first such tragedy for this team. Captain Thurman Munson killed 26 years ago in the crash of his personal jet. In high definition, Dave Barker, VOOM, HD News, New York.
A crowd gathers in New York Central Park, and before you know it, they're practically under a spell. From Junkie XL to Moby to John Digweed, this year's lineup at the Ultra Music Festival included some of the world's top artists and DJs. David Waxman was one of them. He's with Ultra Records and helped organize this event in the Big Apple.
You know, in America, dance music, you know, it's huge here. All the big clubs are all playing it, and it's definitely the biggest in terms of business, the biggest market for it. You know, it's great to have it here. Just that New York hasn't had a big festival, and so we figure we might as well bring one here.
And it brings people together from literally all over the world.
We had such a brilliant time last year, you know, when we came down. We had a couple of friends come down from India. So it was the first time we were here, and it was fabulous.
Here's a look at some of last year's event. It was certainly star-studded and sold out. This year was also a success. The crowd wasn't as big, but the music was just as powerful.
So I really wanted to come Central Park, maybe the last party of the summer, so I didn't want to miss it.
And one artist we certainly didn't want to miss was Junkie XL. We first introduced you to him at the Ultra Music Festival in Miami. Since then, he's been busy working on soundtracks for movies, commercials, and video games, something many electronic artists are doing to get their music out to the masses.
I primarily work on movies, video games, commercials, collaborations with other artists like Britney Spears, Coldplay. I'm now working on the new single for Fatboy Slim, Sister Sisters with Elton John, and on movies all the time, you know, so it's really fun doing that. And then every now and then I get out and do gigs and stuff like that, and it's just great.
Moby, a DJ who's been on the dance scene for over 20 years, also had a gig here, which for him was very convenient since it was in his own backyard.
I'm quite provincial, so being able to, like, we're in Central Park and I live in New York. I like any DJ event where I get to take a taxi to come here. You know, you don't have to fly anywhere, there's no hotels, I get to go home now, so it's nice.
And like Junkie XL, Moby has a full schedule that involves much more than just live concerts.
Now there's so many alternative ways of presenting music to people, whether it's movies or TV shows or cable radio or satellite radio or licensing music to advertisements. And I think in order for musicians to succeed and thrive, they have to be open to all these different avenues.
But ultimately, the greatest thrill is a successful live show, something that is virtually guaranteed at an event like the Ultra Music Festival for both the artists and the audience. In high definition, Erica Zaki, VOOM, HD News, New York. In the same church where Sean Bell was supposed to get married last Sunday, his funeral is taking place. Music echoes through the streets, trying to lift the spirits of the hundreds who've come out to pay their respects.
I felt I had to. I felt touched by it since I have 2 sons, and it just seemed that it's wrong.
And perhaps no one knows the pain of losing a son quite like Kiatu Diallo. Her son Amadou was unarmed when he was shot dead by police outside his Bronx home in 1999. Officers said they thought he was reaching for a gun, when in fact, he was merely reaching for his wallet. The police shot 41 times, striking Diallo 19 times.
Since my son's killing, people of New York expected for positive changes to happen, and as I said earlier, lessons has not been learned properly, and I wish it will stop.
And so does everyone else here, a community still angry over the death of this unarmed man, killed here outside a Queens strip club on the same day he was supposed to get married. And folks here are demanding change.
To make the new officers coming out to community more sensitive that every black person is not a murderer, not a drug dealer, not a crack dealer. I'm not a murderer, I'm not a drug dealer, I'm black, I got dreads. I ain't murder nobody. I sell real estate.
But then there are those who say it is not a race issue. After all, the officers involved in the shooting were white, Hispanic, and black.
There's no black and white thing when it comes down to community and the police officers. It has nothing to do with the black or the white thing. It's community and police officers. So we want an organization where we can come together and therefore we can all get an understanding of each other.
The funeral for Sean Bell comes as the investigation into his death continues. The 2 friends he was with that night are still hospitalized. Originally, police said that they were looking for a 4th suspect. Now they say they're looking for a key witness, if that key witness exists. And the Reverend Al Sharpton, who we could hear through speakers set up outside, addressed that issue during the funeral.
And I keep reading in the paper that y'all are looking for a 4th guy. Well, I don't believe that 4th guy exists, but I know another 4th guy that'll dry tears from your eye. There is a 4th guy. He walks with me. He talks with me. He's food when I'm hungry. And if he sits high and looks down low, he'll make a way even for Sean. Good night, Sean. Sorry you had to leave us, but we'll make sure they never forget you.
And as Sean Bell's casket was removed from the church, the skies literally opened. Rain started pouring and lightning lit up the sky. The streets filled with supporters saying their final goodbyes and chanting for change, all going home with very little sense of closure as the investigation continues. In high definition, Erica Zaki, Voom, HD News, Queens, New York.
Today we're here to reenact the Battle of Fort Salonga. This is the 225th anniversary. This is a battle that took place in October 1781 when American patriots came across Long Island Sound in whaleboats to raid the British fort that was here on site at Fort Salonga.
People will appreciate the troubles and the effort that got put in, because the price of liberty has to be bought through art.